You're confusing us with another office.
That's right. Matt's here. Everybody get one.
So good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning to our friends in Bathurst, Miramichi, Woodstock, Grand Falls. Austin's in St. John today, doing one down there. So this morning we're going to start off with, and as you can see in front of you, nice spread, and Mr. Hunter got the picture I sent to him, so he's going to help himself out. And I'm going to pass over the floor to Mike. I think a lot of you have used Mike's services over the last few. How many years have?
Starting my seventh.
Seventh year. Wow, seventh year. So I'm going to, give the floor to Mike, and you can do your own. You do your thing.
This should be interesting.
Yeah, feel like you're on the CBC.
With my hands, so. Well, good morning. So I've been here. I think this is my third time doing one of these. I think I know pretty much almost all the faces, so it's really nice. First of all, same thing as last year. I'd like to thank you guys very much. I've had lots of success with my business because of you guys. It's really appreciated. For those that don't know me, I'm Mike Strong. I'm the owner and the only inspector at Apex Home Inspections. Started the company 7 years ago. I used to be in the military. I was an electrician, so I've got a pretty strong background in electrical, general construction methods. Pretty good grasp of that kind of thing. Now I'm I say full-time firefighter, but with this is more full-time with the inspections. With the shift work, I work 7 or 8 days a month, so I've got lots of time off. So I end up doing probably 5 to 8 inspections a week. Last year I did about 200, so very busy, just how I like it. I kind of go crazy if I don't have any inspections. On the first page of the report, or second page, I guess, you'll see the price list. I think it's just about in line with everybody else in the region. I will start adding a little bit of extra cost if it's a 100 and 150-year-old house, if it's an hour out of town, just for travel, and it kind of cuts into my second inspection. I think the rest of the fees are pretty standard. Obviously, I bring my test to RPC when I can, or Mukto well water. What's it called again? Atlantic well water on the weekends. But I do prefer RPC. I do radon testing. It's kind of a little bit of another obstacle to navigate to get back and forth, but with some planning, I think we can make that happen. I'm not a salesman. I don't try to push that. I kind of leave that to you guys, maybe to educate the buyers. Maybe they're not from New Brunswick. Maybe they haven't had the radon issue anywhere else. So I'm happy to offer the service, but we'll let you guys educate them on that. I've got the EKI, so that makes me an associate member of the Fredericton Real Estate Board, so I can get in all the houses, insurance, liability insurance, all that good stuff. I use a thermal camera on all my inspections. If you look, maybe one more, that's not mine, I'm pretty sure. If you look on the next page, I've got the thermal camera. So I use that on all my my inspections. It's a good way to confirm some findings, maybe confirm things that I suspected. Helps me detect water leaks, moisture intrusion, if there's maybe some cold air coming around windows. It's just a nice tool to kind of give me a warm and fuzzy that the things that I found earlier are either positive or negative. Typically, I do 2 inspections a day. I'd like to start at 8 a.m., meet for the review at 12. And for the second one, I'd like to start at 1:30, meet for the review at 5:30. The review takes about a half hour, 40 minutes. We have a report a little bit longer than 1 page, usually about 40 pages. And it takes, like a half hour to 40 minutes to do the review. That's about all I have for that. I think most of you guys knew. Maybe a little bit more information for the people that are away. Every year I try to do something maybe to add a little bit of value to the inspections. So on the very last page, you'll see I've got something from Kent's. I'm sure most of you guys saw that. So kind of a little bit of an added value for. I only have 2 of these left, so you guys don't get the red ones today. A little bit of an added value for the buyers. kind of a list of things that they'll be able to work with them. Last year, I was able to get with Hotchkiss Home Furnishings, same thing, just a little bit of an extra, I don't have to call it a bonus, but just something nice for the buyers. And this year, for the last couple months, I teamed up with Maritime Water, and they do install of water filtration systems, UV, air injection, all that stuff, or they'll come in and do a yearly maintenance on there. So, trying to network and promote other businesses. I've gotten a few referrals from them, so it's good. And all that stuff, I don't get any kickbacks or anything. It's not a recommendation. It's just something that I try to do that's nice for the buyers. Yeah. And that's really all I have. Any questions?
Does anyone have any questions? And we'll pass the mic around. Or Mike?
Your mic's not on, John.
Hi, Mike. Just wondering, where do you do the reports? Do you do them on site or do you send them after?
So it's at 12 o'clock, we would all show up. I have an electronic version of the report on the computer. I have a printed version. The version to follow along, take notes. The paper versions, obviously, theirs to keep. And then I email them the report momentarily after the inspection. And then if they have any questions, we can go walk around and look at the weird angle that I took a picture of.
Any further questions? Don't be shy.
I don't have enough coffee.
I was gonna say.
It's too early.
Anything that maybe you can give us for tips or anything we can do for our vendors to kind of get ready for?
Well, I like having access to the attic. Oops, sorry. So as a tip, for the sellers, I've shown them sometimes it's really hard to get into the attic. I'm not really supposed to move personal items. I'll move maybe folded clothes to get if it's in a closet, but sometimes I'll show up and there's, a built-in closet or all kinds of other stuff. So it's a nice thing to do for me to have access. Same thing with the crawl space around the mini home. Sometimes there's too much snow. There's no way for me to get in there. So it's kind of for the buyer, they don't feel like they have the full idea of the house if I can't get in the crawl space. So if you can, access to the crawl space, access to the attic. If there's dogs that are maybe not so friendly, let me know. That's happened once. Besides that, no, it's pretty it's pretty easy going. I think you guys probably have had all the obstacles that come with an inspection come up at one point or another. Yeah, that's really about it.
Perfect. Well, I'll go ahead. Just one sec.
No, I
Say that again, Matt.
Just asking if you're wet certified, Mike.
No, I'm not wet certified. A little bit more. I know another inspector does it. A little bit more specialized than I like to be. I've got the way I do my system, my inspections, my review. I think I've got it down to maybe not a science. We all make mistakes, but it's kind of what I'm good at, and I think I'm going to stick with that. Yeah.
In your inspection, you check for coronavirus?
You can only catch it once.
I feel like Vanna White here.
Mike, you've done quite a few inspections for us, and I just like to I really appreciate the fact that when you do the report with them, you don't scare them. You can really you explain it out to them good. Appreciate that.
I think it's not what you say, it's how you say it. I think that's the...
Yeah, and I've heard that a few times from maybe people that are on their second inspection. Thank you very much for the compliment. But, they've had maybe not a house that was great. No house is perfect. There's always things that come up. And it's kind of that part of that little bit of an education part, especially with a lot of newcomers to Canada, which I'm finding more and more the last couple of years. There's popped window seals where there's moisture between the glass pane. It's not ideal. We all want perfect windows. It's something that happens. Maybe there's a warranty. There's always something that can be done, whether it's through your end of the negotiating or whatever. I leave that up to you guys. There's always an issue that comes up. We have to all be on the same page. We know what the issues are. It's not good for me if they didn't know about something. It's not good for the agents. It's not good for the sellers. It's not good for anybody. That being said, yeah, reassurance, explanation, time on with the report, walking around to look at the whatever it is, it goes a long way, I think. I'm not leaving at like 12 or 15 if we're done. If they have questions, I'll stay on site and answer those questions. Follow-up phone calls later on. Yeah, it's reassurance. I know it's very stressful for anybody, especially first-time home buyers, newcomers, all that stuff. Maybe not hand-holding, but a little bit of comfort goes a long way.
Perfect. Any further questions? So I can make one more run down the runway here? No? Good, good. Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you. Thanks for all the treats and things. So, yeah. Awesome. Oh, there it is. Thanks, Mike. Another good presentation, Mike. I think, who in the room has used Mike's services in the past? Really good. I'm not just saying this because he's here. He's thorough, good. You know, good report. I find it is detailed. So, and the way he handles himself around the clients, I think is, really, really good. Some, there's different personalities out there. Some can be a little bit more harsh or crusty the way they deliver their summary or their findings. So I find Mike's been really good with that.
John, what I liked his answer, that he just sticks to what he's good at. You know what? I liked his answer. What he just sticks to what he's good at. You know what I mean? Like some inspectors, we all know them. They're trying to sell radon. They're trying to sell wet. They're trying to sell asbestos testing in the attic. Like they're all out there for them. Whereas I find he's there for the
Well, the thing
buyers.
is with Mike is he knows what he knows and he knows what he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Which
And
is
some
nice.
people, if you don't have, like us, I think it's just like our profession. If you don't know, don't make something up, because that will bite you. I'll tell you that will come down the road, and that will end up biting you, and you'll pay dearly for it. So, I guess to put it in a real short sentence, stay in your lane, and that's what Austin says all the time. Any further questions on that? I mean, Mike, you can reach out to him. I know we got a bit of a smaller crowd today. The roads aren't so great right now. Is there school today? I was gonna say I didn't see any buses on the road this morning. So, the other thing. So the second thing I want to talk about, and I had to write this down because the MBREA AGM, 30th, 31st, 1st. Who's going to that? Yeah, Fredericton. So we've got a few going, and I think that you can get all your education courses or your hours or what have you for the year there. How many is it? Is it 15 or 9? Is it 9? Yeah. So I think I saw Dwayne Hayes had like a video on MBREA the other day. It was pretty good. So kudos to you guys who get that done early. I'll be there in October or November. So let me know how you make out. The other thing I wanted to go over was, and I don't know where I put it, is, well, first off, I'll go over the numbers. I'll go over so this is for the full market center. So this isn't just Fredericton. Going over the pinks and greens, and this year over last year. Last year was our record year. This year we're up in every category, and as you can see, I know I probably can't see it on here, but basically all greens for the market center. Closed units month over month up 75%. Closed sales volume up 36%. Listings taken 67% up from this time last year. Listings volume sold up 62%. Listings sold up 62%. Listings sold volume up 32%. Contracts written up almost 70%. Contracts written volume up 75.2. Closed GCI 37.7. Paid on volume 23. Company dollar up 25. Appointments up 93% for, that would be kind of Carey side of things. Market share appointments up 113%. And gross is at 33% and net is up 100%. And so I won't get into too much detail, but what those really mean is, what are we seeing in the market right now? And I know this is across the province. It's not just here locally in Farden. It's St. John, Moncton, Grand Falls, Bathurst, Miramichi. It's province-wide at this point. So what are we seeing right now in the market?
No inventory.
Low inventory. No listings, no inventory. And you know, one of the things I looked at the other night, and I actually think I said it to, I don't know if I said it to Matt yesterday. I said this, I was talking to Glenn about it actually. Just looking at kind of the numbers and what everything's selling, is that in January and February, in this first week and a half of March, do you notice like most people are really busy and there's a lot of things selling. But I said one of the things that you'll notice is that like if I look at, you know, and I'm using us as an example, our team, our multi-year trends, everything is on our trends is down as far as closings and GCI, and it's because from January till today's date, basically anything you've sold, if you have buyers buying something, the closing dates are April, May, June already. I've got one in July already, okay? And that's why, because we're more in a seller's market right now, so the sellers are basically dictating when they want their house to be closed. So everything is being pushed out. And then of course in December, what had happened was, or in October, November, December, everyone wanted to close before Christmas. So January and February right now, if you look at like closings, it's been like really, it's been low because no one wants to move in the wintertime. So all the vendors are basically dictating when they want to move, and they're all moving in, you know, basically end of March and after. Like I know, you know, I think it's been pretty slim pickings for closings right now, but the sales are there. So that's gonna, of course, that's gonna pick up in the next couple months, but you're not gonna kind of reap what you sow until later on. So it's gonna feel a little bit tougher, I think, in these first few months of the year. Yeah, and that's and do you know what? Another thing, you know, there's some things to be said about that, because we listed a lady's house last night, and she's head of a department at the down on base, and she says 70% of their postings went out, messages went out yesterday. So guess what that's going to mean this week? You're going to get a lot of phone calls, and you're going to get a lot of people who, you know, that they're on the move. So it's going to be a busy time, and what do we need right now? We need inventory. We need inventory heavy, because I'm sure there's a lot of people in here that have got a lot of different sets of buyers. And I'll share you kind of, I'll tell you what I've talked about last week in St. John, but I'll share you a little bit of like a, you know, a little bit of a story, I guess. So we listed a house in Nasonworth last week. It was on the market last year for a full year. She had a couple offers that fell through based on financing not getting in, and they gave this last set of clients who had the offer in 2 extensions in October. Okay, so gave them 3 weeks, and they couldn't get it, so it came off the market. The place was vacant. She's been moved out of the province for 3 years. So anyway, they rented it. We got a call a couple weeks ago that, you know, she wanted to put it back on the market. So we went out, listed it, and we've been kind of holding properties, marketing them online, but also not holding them for us or just our office, but holding them, promoting them online, and then bringing them the MLS so that we can hopefully get as many people through as we possibly can, because that's what you're trying to do for your homeowners and vendors. And so the first day, we had 3 offers the first day, and she got their terms, got her price, and that was on a Friday. So Saturday, so we had an open house planned for Sunday. I had a head count of 58 people through my open house on Sunday. In Nasonworth. Okay? So Nasonworth, for people in Bathurst, that would be like, I don't know, be the back end of Beldoon somewhere is what it would be. So what I found from that was, and my whole goal, and there was people who were calling me and agents who were calling our team saying, listen, why are you having your open house when you haven't accepted offer? And we said, because there's not a sold sign up, and I'm looking for backup offers. That's what I'm looking for, because that's an insurance policy for my vendor. And guess what? When I pulled up to the house, there's 3 agents and their clients sitting in the driveway 15 minutes to 2 o'clock waiting for me. And they all, just one second.
I was just gonna say that's also 58 buyers.
Yeah, and the problem was, and I'll get to that in a minute, is that so we had 3 sets of clients there, and this is an interesting scenario, and that's why I say this. 3 sets of agents with their clients in the house, kind of all in different corners. This is a little 1,400 square foot bungalow on a slab, so there's not much room to move in this house. And they're kind of all jockeying to see where they are in the grand scheme of things. And who comes through the door next is the person who had the accepted offer in on the house. And she came in, and her agent told her, like, that we were still having the open house. She came in, and she made no bones about it that this was her house. And she says, just so you know, guys, this is my house. And I just kind of lit up like a Christmas tree. I said, and it's not my client, right? And I said, no. I said, you're in the driver's seat. You remove all your conditions. It is your house. But she said, so what are you doing here today? And I said, I'm here looking for an insurance policy in case something comes up. And guess what? All 3 of those agents left the open house, and so did that lady. And at 5 o'clock, I had 3 more offers. So I had multiple backup offers, multiple, with probably a 5% chance or less that they're ever going to get an opportunity to move on that house. But guess what? For that vendor, I've got basically 1 lined up, and I got an insurance policy lined up right behind it. And, that's what now, as far as the 58 people go coming through, it was a really hard time for me to try to pick up anybody. You almost get to a point where you have too many at open house, and that's that case. You almost want to have, there's a happy medium there of how many you can get. But literally, you could have had a traffic cop outside, just kind of waving them through. 189.9. Anything under $200,000 right now? Fini.
I just wanted to elaborate on that. Actually, that happened, it was actually in the summer on your property on Wilsey Road, that little. Where's the mic?
Just grab, where's the mic?
No, it was, that older home on Wilsey Road. Anyway, it was your listing and my offer, and there was an open house, and you guys went through with the open house, and my buyers drove back and forth watching who was going in the house, because they and then when it came to the inspection, when it came to all these little things, they knew there was a lot of interest. So I find it's like buyers negotiating against each other, and not so much the sellers and the buyers. Like, we've had same situations where we've had backup offers and multiple offers, and they're all negotiating against themselves, and the seller basically just has to sit there and watch it all happen. So
Absolutely.
it's pretty interesting.
And I think with the way things are going now, I think we just need to, and that's, I'll take some more, see what other people think, but I'll kind of talk about what we talked about in St. John the last couple weeks. And I think we just need to do things a little bit differently than what we've been used to doing in different markets, and set ourselves up and our clients up, because there's a lot of offers that are falling apart too, because I sign a lot of those yellow return deposits on a daily basis. No, when I see yellow checks, that's not a good thing. The blue ones aren't so good either. I think it's the pink ones, the red ones. Yeah, the red ones are what we want to be signing. Anyone want to add anything to that?
I wondered if anybody else saw the ad that the Thyroid Group was running on Facebook, because I went looking for it again last night, and it looked to me like it got pulled, and I just wondered if anybody had any insight on that. Because it looked like it was encouraging secret deals. It just didn't quite come.
Multiple years in a row, though, and it was a sponsored ad, so she might have only been running it for a certain amount of time, and maybe it stopped.
Right, but it wasn't even a week. it was online for like a day and a half.
Oh, no, I've seen it since, yeah. I just saw it
Oh,
last
okay.
night, too.
What do you guys say to that, and to whether it's property guys or plunking your own sign on your lawn? I wouldn't worry about what other people are doing. I'd worry about your own business, your value proposition, and like I told people in St. John, I said, the way you market yourself and market what you're going to do, I don't care if Tim Smith from Gardner is going to do it for $1 or is going to do it for $20,000. So I don't think it's immaterial of what people are going to post. People are going to listen. There's scarcity right now in the market. It's scarcity. People are like, I've been on listing presentations last week, and the only reason I bring this up is because I know this is what I know, and I mean, I felt comfortable. I knew the price, and I mean, I got a call the next day. Said I didn't get the listing, and I said why, and they said we want to go with you, but the other agent said it was worth $40,000 more, and I was like, where can I mean, I know my CMA wasn't $40,000 off, right? So there's people who will do anything to get the listing. At the end of the day, those are not the listings you want. Trust me. Even in a good market, an overpriced listing is not going to sell. If it's priced right now, you'll get your money, or you might get a little bit more, or you'll get options. But if you take an overpriced listing, I don't care. And the higher you go, the higher up the price range goes. Like over $400,000 is still tough right now. Like anything I got on our board, everything else has got an accepted offer or sold. Everything else is $400,000 plus. And those are the clients that are harder to deal with typically too. 400,000 plus bracket is not something is still tough. So to answer the question, I mean, I wouldn't be too worried about what property guys is doing. I wouldn't be too worried about what the company across the road or across the river are doing. That wouldn't even come into my equation. Anything else on that?
Is it just me, or are there more for sale by owners?
Actually, that's going to be the next thing I'm going to talk about. Pass that back to Alan, please. Say that again, Alan.
Okay. Is it just me, or are there more for sale by owners?
So here's the thing. We know that listings across the province, wherever you are down. Okay. Now, one of the main reasons is because the listings that are coming on are selling, right? So inventory, the shelves they're not getting. It's almost like going to Costco in the United States right now. Coronavirus is taking over, right, and everything just off the shelves. So it's almost like our shelves here in the marketplace is that one comes on, one comes off, one comes on, one comes off. So what ends up happening is, and what we talked in St. John the last 2 times I've been down there, they said the exact same thing. They said we're seeing a lot more for sale by owners. We as agents have to be really cognizant of how we're marketing things. You cannot be out there, like the worst thing you can do right now is put sold in 1 day, sold in 2 hours. Like I saw an agent, not in our office, an agent in Moncton have multiple offers sold in 1 hour. Well, technically speaking, unless it's a cash deal with no conditions, it's actually not sold, okay? So you got to watch what you're saying online, because there are people out there just waiting for you to make a false move, and they'll call you on it. And trust me, you'll get a call from our MBREA and the sheriff down on Queen or Brunswick. So you got to be very cognizant of what you say, but also the general public see that, right? The general public are not stupid. They know. So they say, well, why am I going to pay that guy 5 or 6% to sell my $300,000 house? When I go plunk a sign on the lawn, they're all going to call me anyway. There's a lot of people out there buying. So we got to be, as professionals and as real estate agents, have to make sure we show our value proposition. Absolutely, the market's good, but, or I shouldn't say but, and this is how we're going to do it, and this is our marketing strategy before it hits the market. As we get ready for the market, because you only have one chance at a first impression, and I think people pushing their houses on the market and they're not ready is doing them zero justice, zero. So I would rather hold a listing to make sure it's ready and everyone knows what's going to happen in the game plan, so that you get a fair shake to market it to who your demographic is. So by not saying sold in one day or sold in an hour or whatever the case may be, I think we need to start going out there and promoting our listings and saying, hey, we got an accepted offer on this house. We have 5 qualified, like if you're circle prospecting, we have 5 qualified buyers that didn't get this house. Maybe start working that area. Say, hey, we got 5 qualified buyers that are looking for a home in your neighborhood. Because I'll tell you, there's not many listings right now, so there's a huge opportunity for someone to go plunk up a lot of listings. It's just a matter of going out there and grinding it out. But I think we need to be very, very cautious of how we word things and how we present things. You don't want to say, oh, it's such a hot market. Do you know what I mean? Like you got to be, you're salespeople here. You got to make sure you got your knitting kind of looked after as well. So, because if it was that easy, anyone can do it, right?
Do you think there's more sales?
Mike?
I guess I'm here first.
Okay.
We talk about the value, right? We want to show value. And I know for me and probably for everyone else here, we have clients that have been with us for a while, but they have people that approach them that want to buy it privately, okay? But if your value's there, they do not want to go through the process of showing their own house. They don't want to make sure they have the financing. They don't want to be nickel and dime. That's our job. So we have to show the value, and then it will happen. You have to be not really aggressive with them, but they'll come back to you. I mean, if someone buys it privately, there's nothing you can do sometimes, but give the value. It will take the stress away from them. They don't want this stress. That's why they hire a realtor.
100%. Third-party endorsement is one of the biggest reasons why, if they don't know an agent, why they feel like they need an agent. So, in my opinion, same as Scott, there's a reason why realtors have been around for 100+ years, and that's one of the main reasons. They only know what they know, right? And like you said earlier, I'm not going to ask a doctor's not going to ask me for medical advice. Okay, the guy told me this the other day. Actually, I kind of found it neat. He said, he's a client of ours, and he said, John, I'm not going to ask you for medical advice. So he says, when you give me your real estate advice, that's what I'm taking. You're the professional in that. He said, so at the same time, that's the way he looks at it. So people are looking for that expert advice. And it's not always about, what my house is worth. It's the process to get it from A to Z.
You got to be in control.
100%. Because how many times have you had a bad closing? I'm telling you, there's a lot of bad closings. If you don't do from A to Z properly, you can get the price agreed to by a buyer and seller right now. That's not hard, okay? Everything else in between is the hard stuff. And can murky the waters pretty quick. So.
Yeah, just to add on that, I think there are just a small number of people who actually can be successful at sale by owner, and they have to be willing to show it. They have to know what to change in their house and what the process looks like. And for buyers, I don't think there's any if the buyer's working with a realtor and the realtor is saying what they're supposed to say, that they're protecting them, that they're going to help them through no one in their right mind would give that up, I don't think.
So right now, because of what we've seen in the shift in the marketplace, buyers now are more leaning on realtors than ever before. Because guess what? I always say to buyers, especially when they call and I haven't met them or I met them at an open house, they're like, we're always checking Realtor.ca. And then we call the listing agent on Realtor.ca and the listing, and they've already got an accepted offer. And I'm saying, listen, you're looking at yesterday's stock already. But by the time it gets to what you see on the public website, I said that's why you need to be working with a real estate agent, because they're going to be out there hunting for what you're looking for. So buyers today, I find more so than even 14 months ago, are in the mindset, hey, listen, I need a professional. Because I know, and I'm sure everyone in this room has got, even in Naisworth this past weekend, I got the same set of people that come to every one of my open houses. And I just tell Tom and Jane, take a lap, basically is what I do. Take a lap. Let me know what you think. There's no chocolate or bottles of water here for you today, but I said take a lap. And they'll always come back, and it's just a Sunday drive for them, right? But there's some people that think that that's the way they're gonna go buy a house. And first-time home buyers, you gotta be on them. There's a lot of them out there right now. Interest rates just yesterday. What did the interest rate just drop to? 2.34 for 5-year fix at RBC.
And then with the stress test changing next month.
So I mean, affordability, and you look at the cost of rent, and I'll use Fredericton as an example. The cost of rent in Fredericton's high. High. And what's the vacancy rate? It's 1.2%. 1.2. So I mean, that's low. Now, for instance, I got a great example for what Tracy just said. There was a listing that came up on the north side of Fredericton, Property Guys, and I called on it, and I was supposed to set up an appointment. My people were sick and they were away. So anyway, by the time they got back, there was already accepted offer. So I called. The guy told me, he says, "Yeah, you know Matthew Hunter?" And I said, "Yeah, I know Matt Hunter." And he says, "Yeah, he got the offer accepted on our house." And I said, "Oh, that's great." I said, "If anything happens with it, let me know." I said, "I've got people who are interested." Well, Matt beat the guy down almost $15,000 or $16,000 on a listing that was on the market for 2 days. So he paid Matt. He paid to get on the MLS. He paid Property Guys, okay, and he probably lost. He thinks he saved, but he actually probably lost 10 or. The house is worth more than 190.
Oh yeah, easily lost 10 grand.
So I mean, those are things that people it's short-sighted, right? I'm saving here, when realistically you're losing. You know, to save here to lose there, it doesn't make sense. And I've used that in 2 different occasions the last week for listing presentations. So, perfect example.
He's a great fella to deal with.
Yeah.
I bet he is.
I didn't represent him. And when we brought a counter, he's like, "Yeah, okay, we'll take it."
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
No, he didn't. He didn't know what
Well, put it this way, he got way less than market value.
Oh, no question.
No question about that.
And my folks knew it too. That's why it just slid through.
Yeah. Connie?
Okay, so just talking about for sale by owners, I had a client push a listing to me that was on Kijiji, and I was looking at the picture, I'm like, I recognize this house. So I looked it up on Realty, on the MLS, and it was a listing banner off market at vendor's request, not too long ago. So I'm wondering, like, what happens if we bring an offer to a property where the people are still bound by their previous listing agreement?
So technically speaking, because we're not allowed to reach out to them, if I were to say professionally, I would reach out to the realtor.
Which is what I did,
right,
but
and
I thought, what if
yeah.
you don't, then
And
what?
I would say, well, there'll be people that won't. I'm not gonna say that they won't, but I would reach out to that realtor because, you know, maybe something happened where that realtor says, I don't want anything to do with them. You call them directly, right? And there's clients that we'd have like that, and I'm sure there's other people in the room that have like that. Say, hey, I don't want anything to do with it. Just call them yourself. But I would call them, see what they say, because technically speaking, they're still they're under contract. Yeah, so I mean, that's the way I would go about it. I would go talk to the agent, see what they say, let them contact them, and whatever gets agreed to by all parties on that end, that's what I would do.
Okay.
Glenn?
Just wanted to comment, like, you know, you were saying how busy it is for buyers and stuff. And I mean, you know, 2 years ago, you could put people on whatever, an automated search, and they might message you about a house they like and things like that, right? I mean, it's not like that anymore. You really need to sit down with your buyers. You really need to get them ready to be go time type thing. Stuff selling before market, in office, chatting around, things like that. But like, you really need those buyer agency agreements. If you can, I think it's a perfect time to do them because they can't find a house on their own now. And if you're going to show them the value, like there's a lot of for sale by owners. Buyers are aggressive. They're chatting with people. They're finding houses they want to buy that people might sell. I had an issue 2 weeks ago. Lucky, like, I did get my commission, but it could have slipped through my hands. But I think, like, it's always been a tough conversation to have those buyer agency agreements. But I think in this type of market, it's a little easier.
And realistically, this type of market, like in bigger centers, is why they all get buyer agencies done, right? We've just been, you know, not granted, but we've taken for granted that our market really, you know, you never had to have a contract with a prospective buyer. You only needed for a seller to get it on the market. And I think that you know, now is, you know, due time that, and there are, like, I know Erica Lynn and Bathurst gets them signed every time. And there's, you know, it's a good model to put in place for your business, and it helps secure you, all right, and it helps secure them actually too if you explain it right. So I agree.
Just to kind of touch on what Glenn said, that week, you guys, I know I'm going to sound like Austin now, but answer your phones. Answer your phones. For example, the week that they were all away in Dallas, I had a call for one of our listings, wanted to see it. So I took his name and number. I knew Maria was on her way up to the office, so I said, I'll have my agent call you as soon as she gets in the office. Probably about 5 minutes later, my phone rang again, and he asked for Mr. X from another company for another property. And I was like, oh, is this so-and-so? Oh, I'm glad you called back. Maria just walked in. He was calling the agents. He didn't, you know, whatever was on the sign. So had Maria not walked in that moment, you know, he would have got a hold of, he realized he called the wrong number. Thankfully, he called the same number back or whatever, and had he not, so answer your phones.
True fact. True fact. That's his biggest plug. Anything else that anyone's going through right now? This is kind of more of an open forum this morning. Any issues they've been having with clients or situations? I know I'm getting lots of calls in the evening, so it's good though. That's a good problem because that means we're writing contracts. Usually, that's a good thing to have.
While that's happening, just keep the name drops to a minimum because we are live.
Right, okay. Well, I don't know where to go now.
We can talk about it off camera, but I wouldn't say like so-and-so from such and such company is a real piece of work.
Yeah, really.
As you're live.
Now I forgot my question. I'll take it.
Proceed.
Okay.
So, I was gonna say, what are you telling, for, you know, clients that are, want to list but are scared because they can't find anything?
I mean, and I'll just speak on what I've been saying is that I'd say, hey, listen, there's no better time to listen right now. You can name what you want. I mean, right on our listings, won't close until mid-June or after. We got three accepted based on here's what we're offering. Here's the date we're not going below, you know, before. If you don't like it, don't show up or don't book an appointment. So, in my opinion, and I mean, we've got one in July 15th already. I mean, there's not to say that you can't have something that's out there a long ways. So, the best person in this market right now is a seller that's moving out of the province or moving to a lesser you know, market. Really is. So I mean, that's in my opinion, we're making phone calls now trying to find our next batch of inventory because basically we're all out of what we've already had than what we put on last week. So that's an easy conversation to have right now. Say, hey, listen, I know you're scared about going to the marketplace because A, you don't feel like you've got anywhere to go, or your apartment's not going to be ready until June, or you know, you can't go to the cottage type of thing until it's warmer weather. But hey, listen, why don't we get this on the market and we'll put it out there for everyone that, hey, this is our terms, you know, as far as the date that we're looking to move by or on and nothing before, and we bring it to the market. And I'll tell you, you'll get what you're looking for if it's priced right. No question. There's buyers bending over backwards right now just to get into a house. I think anyway, that's been my experience in the last couple months. And I mean, this is, after March break is usually when things start to kind of go this way. And now that hopefully with military and RCMP getting like a lot of posting messages, I'm hoping that we will see that inventory kind of go this way, because that will help buyers at the end of the day. Because right now there's a lot of buyers that are feeling really, really, they're buying stuff that's only meets 65 to 70% of what they want. because they're scared that they'll never find anything else. But versus 2 years ago when they found the perfect house and they sat on the fence saying, might be something on next week. Not doing that anymore. So anyway, that's my spiel for the morning. Anything anyone want to bring up? Anything about, I don't know. Oh, gee. That's a heavy topic. No. Is that what it is? Amanda, is that what it is? 10:30? 9:30, CRA. Bring your hooded sweatshirt.
All right. Not on mic anymore? Oh, well, change the channel a little bit. DocuSign. We're gonna have some training?
No. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're trying to. We've got. So I'll give you a quick a little thing on DocuSign. Is the reason why we haven't been any real training on it yet is because we're still waiting for legal opinion on whether we can make this a very easy transition from dot-loop because of what we know on dot-loop and how it's auto-populated, those kinds of things. If we don't get the answer we're looking for with regards to auto-populating DocuSign, because technically speaking right now, and I probably shouldn't even say this on camera, we're not supposed to be doing that. Dot-loop, we were never supposed to be able to do that. Dot-loop just did it, but they weren't ever supposed to be able to do that. We're the only only company in the province that does that currently. So we've been doing it. We've been kind of spoiled that way. So if we can't do that DocuSign, the reason why we haven't trained on it is there's an extra step, which really does stink. I'm not going to lie. But if you're used to dot-loop, it's going to be a little bit of a transition. The systems and everything that are on there are really realistically similar. There's not too much of a difference. One calls them loops, one calls them rooms. There's not much of a difference. And it's actually a little bit more there's more to do in DocuSign. You can do, I should say. So yes, we are, to answer your question, we are going to have training. We're going to do videos on that. And we're just waiting for that last piece before we can say we're going to train this way or we're going to train that way. That's going to be kind of that piece. Now, dot-loop is very much available. $99 a month. US dollars a month. So if you're into dot-loop, you can do it. It's still very much going to be available, but that's going to be on your own dime. That'll be enough to get 99% of them off it. $99 a month. Anything else?
Yeah, we were supposed to have 10 this morning.
I think that's next week. So
Okay.
we're shooting 11 properties.
Okay, 10 listings next week on house tour.
For north side?
No, it was supposed to be this week, but there's
So
one I heard but removed.
Might be worse, I don't think.
Yeah.
That's the goal. Should clarify.
Oh, that's the goal.
10.
I was gonna say, you say 10. You're gonna say 10. No one's gonna show up.
No, the goal. Yes, everyone should show up. And we should all have.
Is there any?
Got canceled. So the only other thing I'm gonna mention is, and I don't know when I was away, do they have that exclusive or needs and wants meeting?
There was one when we were.
Last Monday, there was like a week ago from yesterday.
So this coming Monday.
Yeah, we're doing them every second.
Okay, no, I just didn't know if they did have that or not. Esther sent me a message, asked me where I was. I was like,
Who did?
Esther's like, where are you? I was like, anyway. All right, that's it. That's all I got. Thank you.
That was good.